are going to discuss chapter number 7. A Changing Earth. Let's have a recap of a previous topic that we have discussed, which is coastal erosion. So any one of you can please tell me what is coastal erosion and how it occurs? Yes, any one of you? Very good. Coastal erosion means the erosion that occurs along the coast of the sea and the rivers. So we can say that the particles that are broken down by the process of weathering is moved from one place to another along the coast of the sea. So we can say that the coastal erosion is the erosion of the soil or land along the coast of river or sea. So in how many ways the coastal erosion occurs or happens? Any one of you can please tell me? Yes, good. There are 4 ways by which coastal erosion occurs. So the first one is hydraulic action. Who will explain it? What is hydraulic action? Yes, you are right. Hydraulic action occurs when the powerful waves strike the rocks and break them. So in other words, we can also say that hydraulic action is a process in which the rocks are broken down by the help of pressure or by forcing or applying pressure to the rocks. So who will explain the second way by which coastal erosion occurs? Anyone of you? Yes, good. So the second one is attrition. Who will explain it? Yes, very nice. You have a good concept. So attrition, in attrition we can say that the sea which moves and causes rocks and pebbles on the shore to bump against one another. So we can say that coastal erosion occurs by attrition through bumping of rocks with each other. So the third one is abrasion. The third one is abrasion. Who will tell me about abrasion, how it causes coastal erosion? So abrasion is the process in which the powerful waves moves and the eroded rocks also carried with that waves and strikes the cliffs. So the lower part of the cliffs broken down and cause erosion. So we can say that abrasion occurs by the fast moving waves or by powerful waves that strike the cliffs. So the lower parts of cliffs eroded by waves. So What is the next way by which coastal erosion occurs? This one is solution. Good. How can you explain that solution cause coastal erosion? Anyone of you? Yes, think for a while. Yes, good. Solution means if you can dissolve a thing in water, as the thing which is visible in water or dissolved in water. So there are many rocks which can easily be dissolved in water, like limestone and chalk. And the chemicals it will be a chemical solution when the rocks are dissolved in water. So it will be a chemical solution. We can say that solution is also a type of coastal erosion, because when the waves strike the cliffs or the rocks, it causes the rocks in which the limestone and chalk are present, causes it to be miscible in water. So the coastal erosion occurs by solution in such a way, by dissolving limestone and chalk in water. So here are such ways by which coastal erosion occurs. There is a last way which we can say that coastal landforms. So this is the last way by which coastal erosion occurs. So the coastal landform is the last way by which coastal erosion occurs. So we can say that when the cracks in the cliffs face the forced water, and this forced water goes into these cracks and become these cracks enlarge. So when the cracks become enlarged, it forms caverns. This is the way by which coastal landforms cause coastal erosion. So here we complete this topic. So we are going to start a new topic, which is wind erosion. Which things come into your mind first by seeing wind erosion? How wind erosion occurs? Yes, good. By wind. So we can say that the erosion that happens with the help of wind, it causes the movement of sediments or the soil particles, which are very tiny particles, and cause the movement of these particles from one place to another. So this is how the wind erosion occurs. And by how many ways the wind erosion occurs? Anyone of you can please tell me? Yes, it happens by rolling of the rocks along the land. Good. Very good. Anyone else? Yes, by blowing up the rock particles with the wind. Good. So, there are two ways by which wind erosion occurs. The first one is by rolling or creeping the rocks along the land. Yes. Second one. Yes, the second one is by blowing up the soil particles with wind. Here is another way by which wind erosion occurs. It is called saltation. Anyone of you knows about saltation? Yes, good. So, what is saltation? It is the jumping and leaping of the rocks and the soil particles. So by jumping and leaping off rocks. So these are the ways by which wind erosion occurs. As the wind blows, so it causes the movement of rocks and soil particles in such ways. As you have seen in this picture, the wind blows from here and the rock particles which are larger, so it creeps along the land, and the particles which are smaller, it moves along the wind and move from one place to another. So saltation is the jumping and leaping of the rocks. So you can see here creeping, saltation and suspension. These are the three ways by which wind erosion occurs. So here is another picture of the phenomena of wind erosion, in which you can see that suspension, creeping and saltation by the blowing of wind. So this is the way by which wind erosion occurs, by means of saltation, suspension and creeping. So anyone of you can tell me on which places the wind erosion occurs, or on which type of land the wind erosion occurs easily? Yes, good. So we can say that the place or the land which has less vegetation or little vegetation and is dry soil, having wind erosion more easily, or erode the soil more easily, because on the dry soil there is no air particles and there is no porous particles in such soil, so it doesn't hold the soil together and makes it move from one place to another more easily. So we can say that the places which have less vegetation and dry soil are more vulnerable to the erosion. So when the wind blows, these two places or the land are more easily washed or moved along the wind, and erosion occurs. Wind can even shape solid rock. How can you consider it, and how can you explain it that wind can even shape solid rocks? What do you know about solid rocks? Anyone of you can please tell me what do you know about solid rocks? Yes, the rocks or the soil which contain hard minerals. As the wind blows and these minerals along the soil move from one place to another and hits or strike to the place where the soft rocks are present, it causes the erosion of such rocks. So there is an example of hard mineral which is quartz. So the soil containing that hard mineral which is quartz, when it moves from one place to another along the wind, it causes the erosion of the place where it moves and shape the land. So we can say that in this way we can shape the solid rocks as well. So now we are going to discuss that how wind erosion affects our lives. Can anyone of you tell me the effects of wind erosion? Yes, good. Think about it. Yes, good. When wind erosion happens, the soil particles and the dust particles or sedimentary particles which moves along the wind and it goes higher in the air. So it pollutes our air and affects our visibility. So it causes traffic accidents. It causes traffic accidents. Anyone else? Yes, good. When we inhale the dusty or polluted air, it causes the breathing problems and affects our lungs. Good, very good. So we can say that it affects humans by causing breathing problems. And affects our lungs. How it affects the crops and the vegetation? Anyone of you? Yes, good. It smothers the crop. How it smothers the crops? What is the meaning of smothers? Good. The meaning of smother is killed. The meaning of smothers is killed. So we can say that when the air is not gone in the porous rocks and there is no porous rocks present, so the air is not trapped in such soil and the crops are not grown here, and the crops that are already available here smothers because of not trapping the air and not get enough water, because this soil got compacted by the lack of air. So we can say that these are the effects which wind erosion occurs and affects our lives in such ways, by causing traffic accidents due to less visibility, by the dusty particles that spreads in the air and causing breathing problems due to these dusty particles, and smothers the crops, like killed the crops by preventing the air to go into the soil. So class, when the wind moves the soil particles from one place to another, and here these particles deposited, it forms the hills of these particles. So the particles which are moving along the sand dunes and forming a hill, it is mostly occurs in deserts and beaches. Here is an example of such type of deserts or beaches, the Makran coast of Balochistan, which is present in Pakistan. So we can say that when the soil particles move along the wind and the wind erosion occurs, it causes the hills where it deposited that soil particles which it carries along the wind. So this is all about wind erosion that we have discussed. I will add a video of wind erosion at the end of the lesson. You will see it. Hope you enjoy this lesson. Okay, Allah Hafiz.
In the United States through soil erosion. Erosion reduces soil productivity and deteriorates the quality of our soil and water. The resulting sediment causes stream pollution and reduces the capacity of our reservoirs. Erosion removes the topsoil first, eventually exposing the less productive subsoil beneath. In the most severe cases, eroded land may no longer be productive and must be abandoned. Soil erosion is a gradual process that is caused by two forces of nature, water and wind. Water erosion begins with the force of each individual raindrop. Raindrops may seem insignificant, but they strike the ground with amazing force. Rain can pound the ground at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. An intense storm on bare soil can loosen and detach up to 100 tons of soil per acre. Wind erosion occurs as the wind picks up and moves small particles of soil. As wind speeds increase, the amount of soil picked up on a bare field may easily double or even triple. For instance, if a 20-mile-per-hour wind increases to 30 miles per hour, the rate of erosion triples. There are three distinct types of wind erosion: creep, saltation, and suspension. Laboratory studies have shown that more than half of all soil eroded by wind is moved by saltation, with the remainder about equally divided between suspension and surface creep. Wind erosion typically begins at ground level, as the wind causes soil particles to roll or creep over the ground. Particles roll or slide in almost continuous contact with the soil surface. Creep erosion is an extremely slow process and difficult to see without a lot of time and measurements. Wind-moving soil particles in a hopping or bouncing fashion is called saltation. With each bounce, the grains typically reach heights of less than 2 inches above the surface and move horizontally about 2 to 4 inches. The impact of the particles falling back to Earth dislodges additional soil that is sent in the downwind direction. Wind erosion is most visible during the suspension stage, when soil is actually moving through the air. This is seen most dramatically during a dust storm. Soil particles suspended in the air can move hundreds or even thousands of miles before they are deposited. Water and wind erosion are naturally occurring processes that have been accelerated by many human activities, such as farming, construction, and other soil disturbance activities. Everyone should be aware of the potential damage that wind and water can inflict on their land.